Welcome back, guys. I thought maybe I would do a more intimate and personal video. And so the previous video I did about the shop, we talked about the process that I followed to have it built. Today I thought what I would do is go through the costs and the price, the breakdown of how much everything's cost me. Because I think there's a lot of questions out there, what's affordable and what it would cost for something like this. So this building is just a traditional wood building with a concrete floor and apron, and the dimensions are 30 by 40 with two 10-foot garage doors and just a regular man door with one window. I wanted 12-foot ceilings. I ended up with over 13-foot ceilings because of contractor screw up, which in the previous video I explained how that all worked out. So I had received several quotes over the years, some ranging all the way up to over $200,000 for a garage. The gentleman that I worked with for my contractor, he was the lowest quote. I went in knowing that money was one of the variables that I was looking to save on the most. So I am the type of person that will pay for convenience, absolutely, and pay for quality. However, when it comes to something this big, I was looking for affordability above all else. The assumption here was that because I was going with the cheapest option, there would be some headaches associated. And I kind of went in knowing that and being mentally prepared for it. Overall, I would say I'm extremely happy with the cost based off of the other estimates I got, plus the quality and the relatively small amount of headaches that I've had. Now, it's not complete. It's very close. Tomorrow, we should have the final sign off. One thing that I didn't have my contractor build in was insulation. I'm going to do that myself. The plan was never to have insulation. I changed my mind on that based off of a tax return, to be honest. I figured the cost of insulation in the plywood, or the OSB, I should say, slightly over $2,000, which is not a lot, in my opinion. Obviously, you have to add in all the tools and such. So it does bring the cost up quite a bit more than that, but for me to do it myself, not too bad. The quotes that I received, even just to have a handyman put up the insulation if I bought the materials, were over $4,000 to $6,000, and I'm just not ready to chew on that. So without further ado, I thought maybe we'd walk through each line item and what the cost was, and to give you an idea of what this kind of project could cost you if you were looking to do it. Obviously, the economy shifts a lot, especially with COVID and now the new political parties in power and inflation and everything else. The cost of everything is just, it extreme varies. So for me, I signed my contract in July of 2024. It's now March 2025. I'm sure the cost of materials have gone up because of inflation, or even the scarcity, the scarcity of particular things, even over time, based off of what I've had happen. So, all right. So the way this worked with my contractor is he wanted a first contract signing payment, and I would imagine this is to just get the ball rolling on his end, just buy some of the materials and line things up. So that was $10,000, the first contract signing. That didn't pay for any materials or anything else other than here's basically your deposit to get started. So I signed that in July. I don't think he technically got started until September. It's in the other video, but it was a little while after he had been sitting on that 10,000. The next line, which was the largest line out of anything else, was the foundation. So the foundation included the bottom footings plus the walls, all concrete. It also included the digging out of the foundation. That was $30,000. After that were the walls, the wood walls with the 12-foot studs. The wood walls with the 12-foot studs was $10,000. Nice even round numbers is what he was going for. After the walls came the roof, shingles included, was another $10,000. After that was the floor and the apron, which is concrete. Now, there was obviously a different style concrete that I had originally requested. I got the fiber ultimately. I was just going for the regular one with rebar. The fiber has its benefits and cons, but for me, for what I required, it turned out to be roughly a 6-inch slab. Again, a 30 by 40 building, but the apron out front I think is 25 by 30. So a decent size slab of concrete. That was 10,000. The doors, two garage doors with side mounted openers, which are very quiet and very happy with, very powerful. Two 10-foot doors or 10 by 10 doors are 5,932 installed. The siding and the trim came down to 8,400. And we opted to try to match the house as closely as we could because it's relatively close to the house. The electrical was 5,500 for the interior of the garage. That included a 240 outlet. I wound up getting three 240 outlets because the electrician decided he wanted to. He didn't request that, but he put one on each of these three walls here. And then I've got a couple ceiling outlets with lights. Nothing too fancy, nothing crazy. A couple exterior outlets as well. And then the final walk around, which has yet to be done because the final inspection for the electrical is supposed to be tomorrow. The final walk around will be $1,200, and that'll just be sign off to make sure everything's done. He needs to do some finish grading. He's got a pile of fill that he hasn't been able to use. He'll get rid of that and he'll pull that away. And then just minor odds and ends here and there, but nothing major, and that's why it's only the 1,200. The landscaping outside I decided to do myself, so I'll do all the exterior side seating and final grading and making it look nice again. And that's it. That's for this building. That's all I've got. So we talked a little bit about the insulation. That's optional for me. I'm going to put that in myself. Let's talk a little bit of what else I grouped together with. So the first optional thing that I folded into the loan was the lift. Now this lift was a wildfire lift. It's the XLT. It's the largest one you get that uses the standard motor off of the 110. And I put it together myself over a weekend, extended weekend. My wife did help me here and there, but more or less did it myself. There's some other videos out there how to do it by yourself. There's tons of install videos, and you could do it with the right tools and the right equipment. It just takes a little while because everything's extremely heavy. But you want to be very careful with what you're doing. So I folded the lift in. The lift shipped was $8,499. There was an additional electrical cost of $350 to make sure that I had the right outlet and a 30 amp circuit because that's what's recommended. Even though it's only a 20 amp motor, it has a peak surge in the beginning of 24 amps, and you just want to make sure you're not going to pop your breaker. So that was an additional $350 for that larger wire to run down to the box, get the bigger circuit, and then the better outlet. I had one issue in the very beginning where we had a survey done years ago, but it wasn't certified. And the town was asking my contractor for a certified copy of that survey. So we had to have those survey guys come back out, and that was an additional $400 to do that. Not something we had anticipated. I think the original survey was like $2,000, and they just failed to certify it. So we had to pay another $400 to get that done. The interior electrical work needed to be done. That was an unexpected cost. I have a 200 panel service, 200 amp service, and yeah, I had one main panel and a sub panel. My house is rather large square footage, and it was once a boarding house with five different apartments essentially, and it's been converted to a single family. And ultimately, after everything had been converted, my house was built in 1880. I was left with one main panel and a sub panel. And the inspector of the town said that no, if we're going to have a sub panel in the garage, he'd like to see those panels in my house consolidated. So that was $2,500 to have that consolidated. the 2 panels down to one, and also run the larger wire out to the outside. So that wasn't a part of the original electrical cost. That was additional, that kind of came out of nowhere. And then finally, the driveway. We have a large half circle driveway, and where the garage sits, it was never a garage driveway. So we're having them come out. They haven't done it yet, but we've been quoted 11,000 for that. So that's all been grouped into the same loan. So without the additional stuff or the unforeseen stuff, I think the total was 91,000 if you've been keeping track, a little over 91,000 for a 30 by 40 garage with 12-foot walls is what I was quoted, and that's what he stuck to. And my contractor has been very responsive and gotten things done. A lot of the issues that I've experienced, I wouldn't even necessarily put on the contractor. Some of the people that he's chosen, like the electrician, for example, has been a larger headache than otherwise. But for the most part, it's been pretty smooth, and I'm very happy with it. So that's it. That's the cost breakdown. Could I have gone bigger? Probably not from the perspective of being able to finance it or afford it. Would I like to have, even just from a footprint perspective, I'm not sure it would really fit with the house if I went larger that way towards the back of the house. I also don't have a ton of toys to fill it with. I do have some that I'll be putting in here, but I think this is all I need, to be honest with you. I'm not a major mechanic or anything like that. I just tinker here and there. I like doing things on my own. And being as old as I am, having the lift is going to be perfect. I spent my whole life rolling around on the ground. So I'm looking forward to not having to do that. And then there's all kinds of additional items that I've bought, tools and pegboards and workbenches and toolboxes and you name it, all kinds of different stuff that add up really fast. They add up really fast. But since I signed the contract in July, I've basically spread out that additional cost up until now. So I don't owe anything. But anything that I've bought has been with cash, and I've been doing my best to save up and buying things here and there, additional tools and that kind of thing. So I'm feeling very comfortable with where I'm at with this stuff. I'm very happy that I have it. It's a lifelong dream of mine, and I can't really tell you how excited I am to do it. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some videos of some of the work that I do on the cars, or really anything else that I do in this garage. Looking forward to it. So if you did happen to watch this, um, let me know if you have any questions or anything else. Again, these prices are probably specific to where I live. I'm in Massachusetts. And again, this guy was on the lowest possible cost that I could find. I would recommend him. I'm going to put a sign up. So if you are curious who did it and you're in my area, shoot me a message and I'll share who he is. I would recommend him. Again, knowing that he's the cheapest option, you're going to have to do some stuff on your own. But really, I think you're going to end up having to do that with no matter who you choose. So compared to overall pricing, he came in under 100,000 for this building, and every other quote I ever got, he came in way below, to the point where I questioned him even before I signed the contract. I said, how is it you're so much lower? And he said he knows his costs, he knows how much he's making. Don't worry about him; he's making money on this. Um, and I actually shared some of the other quotes to show him, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't understand how these people are ripping other people off." So he wasn't happy with those other contractors, but hey, it worked out for me in the end. And I'm very happy with it. So anyways, that's where it is, and thank you very much for watching.